Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Pheno Field here in Milford, as Milford TV is happy to bring you this presentation of Scarlet Hawks baseball. I am Tim Coet. We've got a little morning baseball action for you here today at Pheno. The kids off for April vacation, so a nice, bright and early 11 a.m. start time for your Milford Scarlet Hawks to take on their division rival, the Oliver Ames Tigers. This is always a good matchup. These two teams always at the top of the Davenport division standings. Oliver Ames winning the division a couple of times in recent years. Both of these teams in the playoffs a year ago, always a good matchup. And for the Scarlet Hawks, they've been rounding into form over their last several games. When last we covered the Scarlet Hawks, it was on their first game of the season. It ended up being a 6-4 loss to the Mansfield Hornets, and a couple of costly errors in that game really telling the story. But it's been a much different tale since then. A big extra inning victory in their second game of the season, and since then, things have really been going Milford's way. A big 10-1 victory over Canton to close out last week. Some big offensive performances in that game, so they will look to keep the offense rolling here in this early morning showdown. We will bring you the starting lineups and the game's first pitch when we come back here on Milford TV. And we welcome you right back into Pheno Field as the Scarlet Hawks take the field. Just a few minutes away from the first pitch in this game as Milford takes on, again, the visiting Oliver Ames Tigers, a Davenport division showdown. And again, we mentioned these two teams in the playoffs in 2014. Oliver Ames, the Davenport division champion last year, actually ended up with the most wins in all of the Hockomock League with a final overall record of 17-5. They went 13-3 in their league play. Milford, of course, finished up the regular season last year at 10-11 with an even 500 record in league play. Oliver Ames finishing in first place in the Davenport division, Milford finishing in third. And both teams off to pretty solid starts to this 2015 campaign. So without further ado, we will bring you the starting lineups for both of these teams. We'll start with the visitors, Oliver Ames. Leading it off is the shortstop Chris Romero, with the center fielder Mike Ferrara batting second. Batting third is today's starting pitcher for Oliver Ames, Brendan Welch, with the catcher Nolan Edwards in the cleanup spot. Alex Giba plays first base and bats fifth, with Josh Miniskin, the designated hitter, batting sixth. The third baseman Kevin Geary bats seventh, with Jake Becker, the second baseman, batting eighth. And in the ninth spot is the right fielder Matt Mancini. Flexed out of the lineup and only playing defensively in the game to start is the left fielder Matt Muir. And for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, their starting lineup, similar to what we saw in the season opener. Leading it off and playing third base is Tommy Thomas. Drew Wild bats second and plays second, with the right fielder Blake Hill batting third. Jeff Basazzi is the catcher and is in the cleanup spot, with Aiden Wild playing shortstop and batting fifth. Griffin Lynch plays left field and bats sixth, with the first baseman Anthony Mazzini batting seventh. Pete Schuler is the center fielder batting eighth, and in the ninth spot is the starting pitcher for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, Alex Croteau. So there is your starting pitching matchup. Both pitchers in the starting lineup offensively as well. Alex Croteau for Milford. He's out there finishing his warm-up tosses to his battery mate, Jeff Basazzi, and he will be opposed by the starting pitcher for Oliver Ames, Brendan Welch. A strong player on this Oliver Ames team, so warm-ups are through. Both of these teams ready to go as Chris Romero stands just outside of the right side batter's box, so getting set for baseball once again here at Pheno Field, our second game that we've brought to you here on Milford TV as we continue to bring you coverage of this Milford High School spring sports season. Tim Coet here on the call, Rob O'Keefe on the camera, and the first pitch is into home plate and it misses. A little bit inside and low for ball one. We are underway here at Pheno Field. Croteau ready with pitch number two. And another narrow miss. And Romero jumps out ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. And there is a called strike. Scoreboard still not quite operational yet here at Pheno Field. The Parks Department has been working hard to get this field game ready, as the count now evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Croteau into his windup. Here's the pitch. Off the end of the bat, it rolls down the first base line, but kicks foul prior to the bag. Gathered behind the first base coach's position by Milford's first baseman Anthony Mazzini. And it remains a 2-ball, 2-strike count on the Oliver Ames shortstop. Croteau stares over the glove, now back into his windup. The 2-2 pitch, right back to the mound, fielded cleanly by Croteau. Steps off the mound and fires to first. And the first batter is retired. 1-3 on the ground out. And defensively, the Scarlet Hawks look like this. Jeff Basazzi behind the plate with Tommy Thomas at third, Aiden Wild at short, Drew Wild at second, and Anthony Mazzini at first. Left to right in the outfield, Griffin Lynch, Pete Schuler, and Blake Hill. Croteau's first pitch to Mike Ferrara, the center fielder for Oliver Ames, drifts up high for a ball. One down and the base is empty in this top of the first inning. And again, Croteau falls behind in the count early, 2 balls and no strikes. Working quickly here in the top of the first inning. And that pitch drops in for a strike. The Oliver Ames Tigers head coach is Leo Duggan. Paul Pellegrini, of course, the head coach for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. The 2-1 pitch misses upstairs, 3-1 now. It's been a stormy start to the week, but nice clear sunny skies for the game here this morning as that pitch misses for ball 4, so Ferrara works a 1-out walk. Puts a runner at first base ahead of the starting pitcher for the Tigers, Brendan Welch. Croteau will now operate out of the stretch. Starts off with a first pitch strike to Brendan Welch. Now a check over at first base. And Ferrara is able to get back to the bag safely. 1 on and 1 out. Croteau mindful of that runner at first base as this pitch drops in for strike 2. Croteau sets. This pitch is chopped down the first base line, but it trickles foul. Ferrara with a little bit of a flinch at first base on that pitch, but he didn't go. Still an 0-2 count on Brendan Welch, with the catcher Nolan Edwards waiting on deck. Another peek over the shoulder at first base from Croteau. Now the runner takes off. The pitch hits Welch off the shoulder. Takes it off that right shoulder, trots down to first base. So now a walk followed by a hit batter. And it puts runners at first and second base. So an early threat here for the Tigers as they look to strike first. Now the cleanup hitter, Nolan Edwards, steps into the box. And Edwards starts off looking at strike 1. Croteau now a look at second before he fires, and this pitch on the ground to third base, fielded cleanly there. The throw to second base out there, on to first, and not in time. Trying to turn that 5-4-3 double play, but Wild just couldn't get quite enough on that throw over to first base. Edwards able to beat it out, so they cut out the middleman. Welch is erased from the bases. Ferrara advances to third, and Edwards is safe at first on the fielder's choice. So now 2 outs in the inning and runners at the corners. As Croteau now deals with Alex Giba, the first baseman, starting off with a ball. The runner at first takes off. Basazzi looks the runner back to third, does not throw to either base. And that allows Oliver Ames to get now 2 runners into scoring position. The next pitch from Croteau is swung on and missed. Two on with 2 outs. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count on the first baseman, Alex Giba. This pitch lifted in the air out to left center field. And over to make the catch is Griffin Lynch for the out that ends the inning. So a little bit of danger for Alex Croteau in this first inning, but he's able to escape unscathed. Half an inning in the books. The Milford Scarlet Hawks will take their first swings of the game when we return here on Milford TV. Alex Croteau allowing a walk and a hit batter in that top of the first inning, but was able to strand the runners at second and third. Still scoreless as Tommy Thomas waits to get things started for the Milford offense, as they will be opposed on the mound by Brendan Welch. Welch, a senior on this Oliver Ames squad. Milford knows him well, as Oliver Ames swept the Scarlet Hawks in their season series back in 2014, and Brendan Welch in the game here at Pheno last season allowed just 3 hits and struck out 12, as Oliver Ames defeated Milford 4-1 in that game. He concludes his warm-up tosses, talks things over quickly with his battery mate Nolan Edwards, who now makes his way back behind home plate as Tommy Thomas steps in on the right side. When we covered the season opener last week, Thomas made the start at shortstop, and late in that game, Coach Pellegrini decided to flip-flop the left side of the infield, move Thomas to third, Aiden Wild to short, and that seems to be a defensive alignment he's comfortable with, as that is where the two have started this day. As Thomas starts off this at bat, looking at strike 1. Can already see a good live fastball out of Welch in these first 2 pitches. Going to a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The lefty fires, and this pitch is hit in the air down the right field line in foul ground. Mancini going as hard as he could, but that one well beyond his reach. Fans continuing to file in here at Pheno Field, spread out throughout the field, and of course congregated, particularly in the pavilion in front of the concession stand area. A 1-2 pitch on the way to Tommy Thomas, and he takes a look at a called strike 3. Did not put up any argument. So we mentioned those 12 strikeouts that Welch earned against Milford last season. Now starts off with his first strikeout with the first batter he sees, and now Drew Wild steps in on the left side. Lefty versus lefty matchup. That pitch misses a little bit low for ball 1. And now Welch misses high, 2-0 the count. The offense definitely looked a bit rusty last week for Milford, but they did break out in their last game with 10 runs against the Canton Bulldogs. As the next pitch from Welch glances off the glove of Edwards. Wild way ahead in the count now, 3-0. The windup and the pitch is too far inside, and after the strikeout to Thomas, it's a 4-pitch walk to Drew Wild. So a 1-out walk for Croteau in the top half of the inning. Now a 1-out walk for Welch. Puts a runner on base ahead of Blake Hill. Drew Wild and Blake Hill back-to-back lefty bats in the middle of this order against the lefty starter, as Hill skies the first pitch foul and out of play off to the left. Defensively, Oliver Ames looks like this. Nolan Edwards behind the plate, Kevin Geary at third, Chris Romero at short, Jake Becker at second, and Alex Giba at first. Left to right in the outfield, Matt Muir, Mike Ferrara, and Matt Mancini. All in support of Brendan Welsh. The 0-1 pitch into Hill is high. Welch staring down Wild at first base, now deals to the plate, a ground ball to first base. They throw to second for the out there. The return throw to first, not in time. They cut down the lead runner in Drew Wild. Blake Hill safe at first on the fielder's choice. He is there with 2 outs now for co-captain Jeff Basazzi. As we mentioned in the previous broadcast, Basazzi and Drew Wild, the 2 captains on this Milford squad. Basazzi had a nice day at the plate in Milford's last game against Canton, hitting a big 3-run home run as part of that 10-run output. Here's the pitch. This one hit right back to the pitcher slowly. Welch has it, takes it halfway to first base before the toss to Alex Giba for the out that ends the inning. So now Milford strands a base runner. We are through 1 full inning of play, and there is no score between Milford and Oliver Ames as we bring you this coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball on Milford TV. A scoreless inning between Milford and Oliver Ames in the first, so we move right on to inning number 2. As the Tigers will send up batters 6, 7, and 8 in the inning. The right-handed batting Josh Miniskin will lead things off against Alex Croteau, who fires in ball 1 high. And now quickly evens up the count at a ball and a strike. Miniskin, the designated hitter in this Oliver Ames lineup. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In for a called strike 2. Oliver Ames opting for a lineup in which both the starting pitcher and designated hitter are in the lineup. The left fielder, Matt Muir, only playing defensively as this ball is hit on the ground sharply to third base, but fielded nicely by Tommy Thomas. A bit of a low throw into first base that Anthony Mazzini could not handle, and that will allow Miniskin to reach second base. That ground ball scooted quickly on the infield grass right to Tommy Thomas. Played it cleanly in the glove. The throw was a little bit low, but certainly manageable for Mazzini. But slips underneath, and a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Will likely go as an error on Anthony Mazzini. Would think it would go as a base hit and an error. But Miniskin at second base now for the third baseman, Kevin Geary. Off balance on that swing. Two balls and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. Big looping breaking ball, but stayed a bit high. So check that, the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now a full count. The runner a few steps off of second base. The 3-2 pitch is chopped in front of the plate, but foul, says the home plate ump. Customary two-man umpiring crew. Tommy Thomas playing in tight on the grass at third base. Another 3-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. Geary down on strikes. That's the first K of the game for Alex Croteau. Keeps Miniskin at second base with now one out, and the second baseman, Jake Becker, stepping into the box. The first pitch of the at-bat sails high and outside for ball one. Middle infielders playing deep for the Hawks as this ball is skied on the infield. Drew Wild taking charge. He makes the catch. 3 or 4 strides in on the infield grass. And Becker is out number 2 of the inning. And that will leave it up to the number 9 man, Matt Mancini. First pitch from Croteau in for strike one. Could hear Coach Pellegrini from up here showing his encouragement on that pitch. And now Croteau well ahead in the count, 0-2, 2 outs in the inning. Miniskin was at second base with no outs. He remains there with 2 outs. And the 0-2 pitch is just a bit high. Couldn't get Mancini to chase, and the count goes to 1-2. Croteau trying to end the inning right here. Here's the pitch. Tapped off the end of the bat, foul. That will make its way towards the parking lot. And it stays a 1-2 count. Tapper back to the mound. Croteau fields it, takes it most of the way to first base, and then sends it to Mazzini for the out that ends the inning. So that error to start off the frame does not do any damage for Milford. As we head now to the bottom of the second inning, it is still Milford 0 and Oliver Ames 0 here on coverage of Milford High School baseball here on Milford TV. It's the freshman Aiden Wild to get things started for the Scarlet Hawks offense here in the bottom half of the second inning. Facing the starting pitcher for the Tigers, Brendan Welch. That pitch misses outside. Aiden Wild up now, Griffin Lynch and Anthony Mazzini to follow. And now a called strike just nicking the outside edge. One ball and 2 strikes on the starting shortstop. Tried to check the swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the infield ump. Wild does not agree, but he takes with him the second strikeout of the game for Brendan Welch. Aiden Wild was up with a chance to tie the ball game against Mansfield last week. Ended up striking out on a check swing that he could not hold up. Meanwhile, Griffin Lynch swings at the first pitch, sends it on the ground in the hole between first and second base, but a nice job by the right side of the infield to flag that ball down. The pitcher covering first base. So a very quick first 2 outs of this inning. And it'll take something from Anthony Mazzini if The inning will continue further. Mazzini looks at strike one. You can tell Anthony is still getting fully accustomed to playing at first base after playing the bulk of his high school career at the middle infield spots. This pitch is hit hard on the ground to deep shortstop, just sneaking underneath the glove of Chris Romero. And Mazzini will reach with a 2-out single. Romero doing everything he could to cover the ground. Tried to snag the ball on the backhand, but just could not get there in time. So a 2-out base hit for Mazzini gives Pete Schuler an opportunity. Schuler watches a fastball miss outside for ball one. Now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Schuler, certainly one of the speediest base runners on this Milford team. Takes a big cut at that pitch, but comes up empty. 2-1 now the count. Two outs in the inning, a runner at first base, still scoreless. And another late swing from Schuler, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Most of the Scarlet Hawks bench standing to take in the events of this bottom of the second inning. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That's on the outside corner for a called strike 3. So a nice job for Brendan Welch as he fell behind 2-0 to start off that at bat. Comes back with 3 straight strikes. Has 3 Ks now in the game. And we are done with 2 innings now from Pheno Field. It is still scoreless here on coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. About to get the 3rd inning started from Pheno Field. Tim Coet here on the call from Milford TV as we bring you this matchup between the Scarlet Hawks and the Oliver Ames Tigers. Both pitchers sharp in the early stages of this game. Alex Croteau beginning his 3rd inning of work, and he delivers in a first pitch strike to Chris Romero. Second time through the Oliver Ames lineup as here's a line drive. Tommy Thomas just unable to snag it on the way by. He had no time to react, still almost came up with it, but shooting past the glove and out into left field for a leadoff single. Happened so quickly, it was tough to tell at first glance if Thomas had managed to snag that one in the glove, but just comes up short. And a leadoff base runner for the Tigers. And Croteau immediately taking notice over there at first base with 2 straight pickoff throws. Romero now 1 for 2 on the day as the center fielder Mike Ferrara waits for his first pitch. Takes one down in the dirt. The runner takes off. Basazzi's throw is not going to be in time. Gets past Drew Wild's glove, but backed up by younger brother Aiden. So another runner in scoring position with no outs for Oliver Ames. We saw that last inning. Croteau was able to pitch out of the jam. And now Ferrara granted time at the plate. He walked in his last at bat. And this pitch drops in for a strike. 2-1 the count. Now a pickoff throw to second base. Shortstop Wild coming over to cover. Just barely getting to the base in time to receive the throw. As that pitch misses inside, now glances off the glove of Basazi. He'll throw down to third base. The throw over towards the third base coach's box, but Tommy Thomas able to go over there to grab it on one hop. So we've seen a couple of pitches in the dirt by Alex Croteau in this at-bat, and that's allowed Chris Romero now to wind up at third base with no outs in the inning. Now here's a chopper foul down the third base line. Oliver Ames, third base coach, thinking about trying to grab that one with the bare hand on the way by, then thought better of it. Croteau's next pitch, down and away. So full count now on Ferrara. And swings and misses. The bottom fell out of that pitch. Croteau needed the K, he gets it. His second strikeout of the game, still a lot of work to do in this inning. Romero remains at third base with one out now for the number 3 hitter, Brendan Welch. Takes a hack at the first pitch and hits it hard into the first base dugout, which is occupied by the visiting team. Croteau starts off ahead in the count. Now 0-2. Got that pitch past the bat of Brendan Welch, who was hit by a pitch in his last at bat. The 0-2, and it gets through the legs of Basazi, and that will allow the runner to come home. So a free trip around the bases for Chris Romero. 3 pitches in the dirt, this last one getting all the way to the backstop. And that allows the first run of the game to come home. Now a 1-2 pitch, and this is hit in the air out to second base. That one really dying quickly, only making it to the edge of the infield dirt. Wild makes the catch. 2 outs now in the inning. So Croteau no doubt frustrated at those pitches in the dirt, as that would not have gotten the run home. Just a shallow pop-up on the infield. So 2 outs now, the base is empty, and Nolan Edwards at the plate. Swing and a miss. Quick 2 strikes on Edwards. Here's the next pitch, again low. So Croteau continues to snap off these balls down in the dirt. Jeff Basazi having a hard time keeping the ball in front of him, as this one now misses low as well. The count evens up at 2 strikes. And now a called strike 3 on the inner edge. A nice pitch to end the inning, but the leadoff single ends up producing a run. And as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning, it is now a 1-0 lead for the Oliver Ames Tigers here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball on Milford TV. Oliver Ames grabs the lead in the top half of the 3rd inning. Now Milford looking to answer in the bottom half of the inning. Brendan Welch now pitching with a lead. Delivers in a called strike 1 to his counterpart, Alex Croteau. The 0-1 pitch, now a swing and a miss for strike 2. Oliver Ames getting the leadoff single out of Chris Romero in the top half of this inning, then a couple of wild pitches, and finally a pass ball allowed him to come all the way around to score. without the benefit of the ball leaving the infield for the remainder of the inning. A 1-ball, 2-strike pitch on the way. Misses high for ball 2. Croteau up now, then it's back to the top of the Milford lineup. Here's the 2-2 offering. Misses high. So Croteau fights back into the at-bat from 0-2 to 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. It's swung on and missed. Chased the pitch. That likely would have been ball 4. Now 4 strikeouts in the game for Brendan Welsh. Already 7 strikeouts between these two pitchers combined. And the second at bat now for Tommy Thomas, who's one of those strikeout victims. Struck out looking back in the first. Takes a swing but comes up empty in the first pitch of his second at bat. Now a defensive swing. He falls behind 0-2. Looks like he was more trying to get out of the way of that pitch than swing, but the bat goes around. And now gets hit around the same location as the previous pitch, but this one getting Thomas off what looked like it might have been his left knee. But Thomas looks to be all right at first base. So the hit batter allows Milford to get a 1-out base runner ahead of Drew Wild, who walked in his previous at-bat. Turning to bunt, but sends it foul towards the backstop. Milford with just 1 hit so far on the afternoon, but only 3 hits total in this game. As we play here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. A 1-0 lead for the Tigers. And a pickoff throw over at first base, but Thomas was not very far off the bag. Able to get back in standing up. Now Wild has to pull the feet back out of the way of that pitch. Too far inside and low. Thomas creeping out to a lead at first base. He holds as the pitch is hit on the ground slowly towards second base. They flip to second for the out there. The throw to first is not in time to complete the double play. It was a slow roller to Jake Becker at second base. Cuts down the lead runner in Tommy Thomas. So a runner at first base now with 2 outs in the inning for Blake Hill, who reached on a fielder's choice back in inning number 1. Takes a big swing at the first pitch. Hill looking to drive that ball. 0-1 the count, 2 outs in the inning. And now a swinging strike 2. Drew Wild takes off for second base. The catcher throws down. No one was covering the bag. So the ball ends up out in shallow center field, and Wild just keeps on going to third. Late reacting out of both of the middle infielders for Oliver Ames. And good heads-up base running for Wild, as he now ends up at third base with 2 outs in the inning. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now on the right fielder, Blake Hill. Bats now with the tying run at third base. Welch sets, here's his pitch, and it is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Wild gets to third base, but is stranded there. 3 innings in the books now at Pheno Field with a score of Oliver Ames 1 and Milford 0 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball on Milford TV. Alex Croteau starts off this top of the 4th inning with a ball into the first baseman, Alex Giba. Now a quick 2-0 count. Giba flew out to left field with runners at second and third and 2 outs in the first inning. Ahead in the count now, 3 balls and 1 strike. And that pitch bounces in the dirt for ball 4, so it's the second walk issued in the game for Alex Croteau. And it is now the 3rd straight inning that Oliver Ames has had the leadoff man on. Brings up the DH, Josh Miniskin. He singled to start off the top of the 2nd inning. Moved up to second base on an error over at first base. The righty batter against the righty throwing Alex Croteau. Now a pickoff throw over at first. Looks like some indecision for Giba onto whether to go back to the bag standing up or to dive in. But he ends up safe at the bag. He holds on this pitch, which is swung on and missed for strike 3. It bounces away from Basazi. First base was occupied, so no chance for Miniskin to reach. However, Alex Giba advances to second base as Basazi continues to have difficulty corralling these pitches from Alex Croteau here in the game. Tapper foul off the bat of the third baseman, Kevin Geary, to start him off on an 0-1 count. Geary, a strikeout victim back in inning number 2. Bats with 1 out and a man in scoring position down at second base. Swing and a miss. It's 4 strikeouts now for Croteau to go along with a pair of walks. He's also hit a batter in this game. Gets a ground ball to first base. Mazzini has it. He will take it to the first base bag himself for out number 2 in the inning. Giba advances to third base on the ground ball to the right side. And now first pitch swinging. This ball is popped up. Croteau looking to take charge in towards home plate. He makes the catch. Always nice to see a pitcher who's not afraid to field his position. Croteau makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So we head on to the bottom of the 4th inning. It remains a 1-0 lead for Oliver Ames here on Milford TV. Brendan Welsh back on the mound for Oliver Ames to start off this bottom of the 4th inning. Jeff Basazi swings at the first pitch, hits a shallow fly ball in foul ground down the right field line. Charging out was Alex Giba. Charging in was Matt Mancini, but the ball lands foul. And strike 1 to the Milford catcher. Basazi grounded out back to the pitcher in his first at bat and has had a bit of an adventure today behind the plate. Alex Croteau really looking to keep the ball down in the zone against this Oliver Ames lineup. We've seen a number of pitches down in the dirt that have been tough for Basazi to handle. Count now 1 ball and 1 strike. Oliver Ames so far today, 1 run on 2 hits. Milford no runs on just a single hit, as Basazi sends a liner foul up over the backstop. Batters 4, 5, and 6 due up for Milford in this bottom of the 4th inning, as Basazi swings and misses. The 6th strikeout victim of the early afternoon for Brendan Welsh, so halfway to his strikeout total in his start against Milford last season. And now the first pitch into Aiden Wild misses for ball 1. As we mentioned, it was a season series sweep for Oliver Ames against the Scarlet Hawks back in 2014. That 4-1 victory here at Pheno, in which Brendan Welch was the winning pitcher. Oliver Ames notching an 8-1 victory against Milford in their second matchup of the season. As this ball is hit on the ground to shortstop. Fielded there, a high throw, and the ball remains in the glove of Alex Giba. He's able to apply the tag. It was a high throw from Romero at short, but Giba was able to handle it and to leave his feet to snag that ball. Kept it in the glove and applied the tag for the second out of the inning. Aiden Wild retired. Now 0 for 2 so far on the day. And a first pitch strike now into Griffin Lynch. Despite the good pitching we've seen so far today, we have not witnessed a 1-2-3 inning. Welch looking to do that right here with the first 2 batters retired, and now Griffin Lynch at the plate. Welch winds and deals. The pitch off the end of the bat, foul off to the right. One ball and 2 strikes is the count on Griffin Lynch with 2 outs and the base is empty. This pitch is a liner back up the middle that gets through for a base hit. So Lynch denies Welsh the 1-2-3 frame, collects the second base hit for the Scarlet Hawks on the afternoon. And the only other member of the starting 9 for Milford with a base hit now stepping into the box, Anthony Mazzini, 1 for 1. He singled with 2 outs back in the second. Did not advance past first base. We're 2 outs deep here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Oliver Ames with the lone run so far on the day. Welch getting that pitch to drop in for a called strike that evens the count at 1-1. Pitch looked like it slipped out of the hand of Brendan Welsh a bit, stayed outside, and the count goes to 2-1. Welch mindful of Griffin Lynch at first base, but of course the lefty pitcher, they've got to watch for that pickoff move. Welch comes to the plate with this pitch. A close one, but ruled a ball. Mazzini ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike. swings away at that 3-1 pitch. Hits it in the air, foul and out of play. Should Mazzini reach, Pete Schuler would be the next batter. Milford with the tying run aboard at first base with 2 outs in the inning. A full count on Mazzini. Lynch takes off. The pitch is a ground ball snagged up the middle by the pitcher Welch. Throws to first for the out that ends the inning. Milford strands their 4th base runner of the game. We've played 4 full now from Pheno Field, and it continues to be a 1-0 lead for Oliver Ames over Milford as we bring you coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. Each team has stranded 4 runners on through the first 4 innings of this ball game. Alex Croteau delivers strike 1 into the number 9 hitter in the Oliver Ames lineup, Matt Mancini, who now turns to bunt. Offers at it and misses. A quick 0-2 count. Croteau wastes a pitch, trying to get Mancini to chase. Now 1-2 the count. Mancini will be followed by Chris Romero and Matt Ferrara. Mancini protecting the plate as he sent that pitch foul. And now a ground ball that sneaks through the hole between first and second, out into shallow right field. So credit Mancini, quickly falling behind in the count, stayed alive and eventually punched that ball through on the right side for a leadoff single. And once again, the Tigers have the leadoff man aboard. The only inning Croteau was able to retire that leadoff batter was back in the first. Mancini dances off of that first base bag as Croteau delivers ball 1 into Chris Romero, now up for the 3rd time. It's a pop fly out to 3rd base. Tommy Thomas sizes it up and makes the catch. Romero now 1 for 3 on this early afternoon. Runner at first base with 1 out now for the center fielder Mike Ferrara, who has walked and struck out. He hits a hard ground ball up the middle. It eats up Aiden Wild on the way by. Took a tricky hop as it reached the lip of the infield grass and ends up sneaking through. A base hit for Ferrara. Mancini holds up at second base. Now 2 runners aboard with 1 out and ball 1 issued to the starting pitcher, Brendan Welch, looking to help his own cause. He's been hit by a pitch and popped out to second base so far on the day offensively. Pitching-wise, has 6 strikeouts through the first 4, allowing only 2 hits. And now too much time taken. The home plate umpire grants timeout. A chance perhaps for a double play on that ground ball from Ferrara, but that tough hop causing the ball to elude the glove of the shortstop Aiden Wild, and instead now it's runners at first and second base with 1 out in the inning. Both runners start and stop from first and second as the ball is hit foul down the first base line. It's now a 1-ball, 2-strike count. As that pitch stays upstairs. The bells chiming out 12 o'clock in the afternoon here in Milford. You can hear the church bells along with the Sounds of construction here in the Milford area as we play on here at Pheno. This pitch is trouble out into shallow left field. It gets down for a hit. They're going to wave the runner to the plate. Here comes the throw from left. It's cut off, and now they have the runner caught heading to third base, but nobody covers the bag. The runner's safe there at third, and moving up to second base is Welch. So Mancini comes around to score the second Oliver Ames run. Ferrara ends up moving up to third. He was slow to get up, but now standing on that third base bag as he talks things over with his coach. And now they will call for a pinch runner at second base. So credit Brendan Welsh with an RBI single that increases the Oliver Ames lead to 2-0. He takes second base on that bizarre play on the infield, as Nolan Edwards now swings and misses for strike one. Tommy Thomas coming into the center of the diamond to serve as the cutoff man on that throw from left field. No one going to back up the third base bag, and alert base running from Ferrara, who saw that third base was empty. Moved up there, so that allows two runners now to end up in scoring position. Meanwhile, a quick strikeout for Croteau against Nolan Edwards. It keeps those runners at second and third base now with two down in the inning, with the first baseman Alex Giba, who takes a swing and a miss himself for strike one. The 0-1 pitch from Croteau. This is a bouncer over towards first base, handled by Anthony Mazzini. He uses the pitcher to cover the first base bag for the out that ends the inning. So Giba grounds out 3-1 to end the threat. Oliver Ames settles for one run. They strand two more in scoring position, but we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. Oliver Ames now up by a score of 2-0 over the Scarlet Hawks here on coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. Brendan Welsh returns to the mound after delivering an RBI hit to put his team up 2-0 over Milford, as we've reached now the bottom of the fifth inning. Pete Schuler leading it off for the Scarlet Hawks, pops it up in foul ground. The catcher, Nolan Edwards, going as far as he can go, but that one drifts out of play. Alex Croteau doing a good job of, again, limiting the damage. He has pitched himself into a couple of jams in this game, but all things considered, just the 2 runs allowed. It could be much worse. Had 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out in the top half of this inning, but got a strikeout of Nolan Edwards and was able to get the first baseman Giba to ground out to end the inning. As Schuler fights off another pitch foul, staying alive in the at-bat. And now that pitch missing inside. Pete Schuler, part of the healthy contingent of Scarlet Hawks hockey players from the winter sports season that moved right on to this baseball varsity squad. As he readies himself for another pitch and sends another ball foul. Schuler along with Drew Wild, Griffin Lynch, Brian Ireland, also another member of that hockey team, and Aiden Wild. So 4 of the top 6 forwards represented on this baseball varsity roster, as well as the starting goaltender. Schuler hanging tough in this at bat. Welch's next pitch on the way, and it's swung on and missed. Again, Welch is able to win the battle, getting Schuler on strikes for the second time today. And that is strikeout number 7 now on the afternoon, as we have reached the afternoon hours now here in Milford. This game cruising along already in the bottom of the 5th inning. We were only about an hour and 10 minutes into this game. Alex Croteau now up for the second time. He struck out in his first at bat. Starts off down in the count, 0-1. Milford has really struggled to generate any sort of offense on the day. Both of their hits today have come with 2 outs in the inning. As it's now a 0-2 count. The biggest threat Milford had in the game was back in the 3rd inning, in which they saw 2 men reach without the benefit of a hit by pitch, and also a fielder's choice as part of that inning, getting Drew Wild to 3rd base. As Croteau swings and misses, back-to-back strikeouts to start off the bottom of the 5th inning. 8 Ks in all now for the left-handed starting pitcher from Oliver Ames. The strikeout pitch has been working on both sides today, a total of 13 batters down by way of the K. As Tommy Thomas tries to keep the inning alive. Fouling off the first pitch he sees. A strikeout and a hit by pitch has been the day for Tommy Thomas so far. It's a little nubber down the 3rd base line. Oliver Ames will hope it trickles foul, but it stays in fair ground. And it will be an infield single with 2 outs in the inning for Thomas. He chopped it out in front of the plate, rolled all the way down the dirt along the 3rd base line, then died about halfway to the 3rd base bag, remaining in fair territory. So we'll give Drew Wild a chance to bat here in the bottom of the 5th. As now he bunts over towards 3rd base. Slow to react was the pitcher, and everyone's going to be safe. A beautiful bunt out of Drew Wild. It caught everyone by surprise. Caught the 3rd baseman flat-footed. The pitcher late to get over there to cover, and you can see now Welch talking things over with the catcher. So a heads-up play for Drew Wild. Good speed on the bases now for Milford, with Thomas at 2nd base, Drew Wild at 1st, still 2 outs in the inning, and now a chance for Blake Hill. He swings at the first pitch and lines it foul over the backstop. Blake Hill had a chance to tie the game back in the 3rd inning. Batted with Drew Wild at 3rd base and 2 outs, but struck out to end the inning. The 0-1 pitch freezes Blake Hill in there for a called strike 2. Welch struck out the first 2 in this inning, now has runners at 1st and 2nd base. Here's his 0-2 pitch to Blake Hill and gets a swing and a miss for strike 3. So he does end up striking out the side with those 2 infield hits mixed in. Blake Hill very frustrated. As the 5th inning comes to a close, 2 more runners stranded for the Scarlet Hawks, who have now stranded 6 men on the bases through the first 5. And we head to the late stages of this ball game, a 2-0 lead for Oliver Ames here on Milford TV. So certainly a frustrating way for the bottom of the 5th inning to come to a close for the Scarlet Hawks. Blake Hill striking out with 2 runners aboard. He gets a chance to make his first put out of the day here on pitch number 1 of the top of the 6th inning as Josh Miniskin flies out to right field. Alex Croteau entering his 6th inning of work on the mound. Gets that all-important first out of the inning against the leadoff hitter, just the 2nd time he's been able to do it in the game. Working now to the 3rd baseman, Josh Geary, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Swings and misses. Geary struck out back in the 2nd inning, grounded out 3 unassisted in the 4th. And a strikeout here. 2 up and 2 down in the top of the 6th inning. 6 strikeouts in the game now for Alex Croteau. As we will now see a pinch hitter for the Oliver Ames Tigers, Steve Skirty will bat for the 2nd baseman, Jake Becker. Becker had been 0 for 2 on the day with a couple of pop-outs on the infield. A waving swing and a miss out of Skirty. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count with 2 outs in the bases empty. Here's the pitch. Misses low. And that one drops in at the knees. A perfect pitch from Alex Croteau for a called strike 3 to end the inning. So by far Croteau's best inning of the game coming here in the top of the 6th inning. A 1-2-3 frame, 2 strikeouts in the inning. And we head to the bottom of the 6th. Milford needing to get the bats going, trailing 2-0 here on Milford TV. Bottom of the 6th inning, Milford again needing to generate a late game rally, trailing 2-0. As Welsh remains on the mound for Oliver Ames. Pitched out of a 2-on, 2-out jam in the last inning, as Jeff Basazzi now hits a ground ball slowly to 2nd base. Jake Becker, who was pinch hit for in the top half of this inning, remains out there defensively. He starts that 4-3 ground out. So Jeff Basazzi now 0 for 3 on the day with a couple of ground outs. And now here is Aiden Wild. Swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air out to center field. Ferrara settles underneath and makes the catch. Aiden Wild on just 1 pitch is out number 2 of the inning. So Milford now down to their last 4 outs in this game. Now here is Griffin Lynch. Looks at the first pitch for ball 1. Lynch was able to notch a 2-out single back in the 4th inning, but was then stranded on. Again, Milford has had chances in every inning. They have had at least 1 runner on in every inning of this game, but they have not been able to get that big hit to deliver a run. Now Lynch hits a ground ball up the middle. Down to his knees is the 2nd baseman. He throws wildly to first base. A great job by Giba just to keep that ball from sailing out of play. There's really no chance for Becker to get the throw to first base in time. Slid down on the knees to keep that ball on the infield. It was a good rangy play, but would have been better off just putting it in the hip pocket. Lynch does remain at first base with the single. So 2 hits in the game for Lynch. The chance for Anthony Mazzini, who has one of Milford's 5 hits. This ball down in the dirt, bounces away from Edwards, and that will allow Griffin Lynch to move up into scoring position. A lot of Milford's hits this afternoon have come with 2 outs in the inning. Mazzini trying to deliver a hit here to bring Lynch to the plate. This one is lined out to center field. That's going to drop down for a hit. They're going to wave Griffin Lynch to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's cut off on the pitcher's mound, and the throw in is not in time. Now Mazzini hung up between first and second base. He continues to wriggle around. Eventually the tag is applied for the out that ends the inning. So Mazzini out on the bases, but he does deliver the first RBI base hit of the game, bringing home Griffin Lynch with the first Milford run. So we will head to the 7th inning. It's back to a 1-run lead for Oliver Ames, now 2-1. Here on coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. Milford is now out-hitting Oliver Ames in this game, 6-4. But Oliver Ames leading where it counts in that run column, now 2-1. Milford finally able to come through with a hit with a man on in that bottom of the 6th inning. Unfortunately, Mazzini thrown out on the bases after delivering that RBI single. So Croteau looking to make quick work of the Oliver Ames bats here in the top of the 7th to give his team a chance, down by just 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Croteau working to the number 9 hitter in the Oliver Ames lineup, Matt Mancini, who is 1 for 2 in the game. Now works the count full. Mancini doing a nice job working a leadoff single back in the 5th inning, ended up scoring what is now the run that is the difference in the game. A ground ball to third base here, bobbled just a bit by Tommy Thomas, but a good strong throw across the diamond gets there in time to record the out. So Mancini retired, 5-3 on the ground out. Now back up to the leadoff spot. Chris Romero looks at ball 1. Romero with the other run scored on the day. He singled back in the 3rd inning, and that is certainly an inning I'm sure that Alex Croteau wishes he could have over again, allowing that leadoff single, and then without another hit being allowed in the inning, Romero ended up coming around to score on 2 wild pitches and a passed ball. Drops in a called strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the leadoff hitter and shortstop. And that in there for a called strike 3, just grabbing the inside edge was Croteau. Alex Croteau, who has now retired the last 7 straight batters he has faced. Starts off with a ball to Mike Ferrara. Now 2-0 the count. Croteau will come to the plate as part of the 3 expected in the Milford order in the bottom half of this inning. Now battles back with strike 1, a 2-ball, 1-strike count with 2 outs and the bases empty here in the top of the 7th. As this pitch is hit in the air out to right center field, a long run for Schuler. He won't get there. Sends the throw back in, but not before. Ferrara is able to jump into second base with a 2-out double. That is the first extra base hit we have seen all day. And it breaks up that string of 7 straight retired batters for Croteau, who will now have to deal with the number 3 hitter, Brendan Welch, who came through with an RBI single his last time up. You know, Oliver Ames would feel a lot more comfortable if they could at least regain that 2-run advantage. A ball in the dirt out of the hands of Croteau, and he falls behind 2-0. And now that pitch fought off foul over towards the on-deck circle for the visitors. A big at-bat here for Brendan Welsh with 2 outs and a man in scoring position. Milford looking to keep it a 2-1 score. Here's a ground ball to first base. It gets under the glove of Mazzini. They wave the runner to the plate. The throw from Blake Hill is not in time. Basazzi trying to block the plate, but the runner getting in there in plenty of time. Now Coach Pellegrini coming over just to talk things over with the home plate umpire. It doesn't even go all the way over. So the second RBI single of the afternoon for Brendan Welsh, and sure enough, Oliver Ames able to reestablish that 2-run lead, now up 3-1. Now ball 1 issued to Nolan Edwards, who has had a tough day out of this cleanup spot. He did reach on a fielder's choice back in the first inning, but has struck out twice since then. Alex Croteau retiring the first 2 batters of the 7th inning, but allowing the double to Ferrara and an RBI single to Brendan Welsh to allow Oliver Ames to bring home an insurance run. They continue to bat here with a man at first base. Now a waving swing and a miss, and Edwards down on strikes for the 3rd time. And that will conclude things here in the top of the 7th inning, so it will be a 2-run deficit that Milford will look to overcome when they come to the plate in the bottom of the 7th inning, which we will bring to you next here on Milford TV. It has been an exciting one here today at Pheno Field. Good pitching on both sides, some clutch hitting. Everything you'd expect out of 2 teams that in all likelihood will be right around the top of the Davenport division standings in the Hockomock League all season long. Both teams coming into the game today with 2-1 overall records. Oliver Ames grabbing an insurance run in the top half of the 7th inning. Hits are even once again at 6 apiece, but the Tigers leading by a score of 3-1 as Milford will bring batters 8, 9, and 1 to the plate. Pete Schuler will lead it off. As Brendan Welsh will look to go the distance on the mound. He has 9 strikeouts heading into this inning. As Schuler starts off ahead in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. Schuler has struck out both times he has come to the plate against Welsh so far today. Ahead now, 2 balls and no strikes. Nick Johnson does have a bat in the on-deck circle, possibly a pinch hitter coming up for Croteau in the next spot in the lineup. Schuler remaining patient. He takes a strike. The 2-1 pitch on the way, and that's up high. The Pitch count must be up there by now for Brendan Welsh with those 9 Ks. Also had to throw some extra pitches in the 6th inning. Schuler swinging away at the 3-1, and he fouls it off. And that runs the count full. Three balls and 2 strikes. Here is the pitch, and it's hit in the air out to center field. Ranging in is Ferrara. Over into right field, a stumble at the end, but he's able to hold on to it. So Schuler flies out to his counterpart, Mike Ferrara, out in center field for the first out of the bottom of the 7th. And we will indeed see a pinch hitter for Alex Croteau, as Nick Johnson steps in on the right side. Looks at strike 1 on the outside edge. Now that one well up and out of the zone. Welsh, the windup and the pitch. Goes back to that outside corner and grabs it for strike 2. Milford trying to get a base runner here in the 7th inning to bring the tying run to the plate. Here's the 1-2 pitch now, and it is swung on and missed. So after Alex Croteau had struck out swinging in 2 at-bats out of this number 9 spot, now Johnson follows suit. Milford down to their final out in the game as they turn the lineup over once again. Tommy Thomas at the plate. Reached on an infield single his last time up. Also reached on a hit by pitch back in the 3rd and struck out in the 1st. Sends a fly ball foul and out of play. Thomas ready at the plate, Welsh ready with the pitch, and it is swung on and missed. And a very quick at bat for Tommy Thomas. He strikes out swinging, and that is how the ball game ends. So a frustrating day at the plate for the Scarlet Hawks. They go 1-2-3 here in the 7th inning. The only 1-2-3 inning of the day for Welsh comes in the 7th. So he's able to finish his day on a high note. And those 2 strikeouts here in the 7th inning allow him to finish the day with a total of 11 Ks. So a 12 strikeout effort a year ago against Milford follows that up, allowing just 1 run in a complete game effort here with 11 Ks. An impressive day from the senior starting pitcher out of Oliver Ames, and they are able to defeat the Milford Scarlet Hawks by a final score of 3-1. So it's back to the 500 mark for the Scarlet Hawks, now 2-2 on the year. And Oliver Ames improves to 3-1 on the season. And it will certainly be exciting to see these 2 teams match up a little bit later on in the year over on Oliver Ames' home turf. But that will wrap things up for our coverage here on the afternoon. Again, the win goes to Brendan Welsh. The loss goes to Alex Croteau, despite a fine effort on the mound himself, allowing those 3 runs on 6 hits while striking out 9. As again, we will continue to follow along with this baseball team as well as the Lady Hawks softball team throughout this spring sports season. So for Rob O'Keefe, our cameraman for today, I am Tim Coet. Your final score one final time. The Oliver Ames Tigers defeat your Milford Scarlet Hawks by a final score of 3-1. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. So long, everybody.